Man City news today. Spanish media have revealed Pep Guardiola's possible next step amid expectations of his departure from Manchester City. Meanwhile, two England internationals are reportedly among Enzo Maresca's top early transfer targets for Man City. And Erling Haaland has shared his thoughts on the title race after Arsenal secured the Premier League title. But first, don't waste any time and subscribe to our channel right now to stay updated on everything happening about the citizens. Manchester City's draw against Bournemouth may end up being remembered as the night an era truly began to close. For the first time in years, Man City are finishing the campaign looking up at somebody else, with Arsenal finally ending their long wait for the title and stopping Pep Guardiola from adding yet another league crown to his collection. What makes this moment even bigger is the growing feeling that Guardiola's time at Man City is nearing its end. After the match, Pep avoided giving any clear answers about his future, but his comments felt telling. He spoke about sitting down with the chairman once the season ends before making a final decision. That doesn't sound like a manager already planning next season in detail. It sounds like someone seriously reflecting on what comes next. And if this really is Guardiola's final campaign at the Etihad, it still adds to one of the greatest managerial periods English football has ever seen. 6 Premier League titles, historic points, totals, a Champions League, and a style of football that completely changed expectations in England. What's also interesting is the reported plan already being prepared behind the scenes. Enzo Maresca, who knows Guardiola's methods inside out, is heavily tipped to become the next manager. That suggests the club wants continuity rather than a complete rebuild of identity. As for Pep himself, reports from Spain suggest he may step away from football for a year before eventually moving into international management. Honestly, that would make sense. After the intensity of club football for nearly 2 decades, a national team role could be the perfect next challenge. The irony is that Man City's final game comes against Aston Villa, the same opponent involved in that dramatic final day comeback in 2022. Back then, it was a celebration of dominance. This time, it could be the emotional closing chapter of Guardiola's incredible journey at Manchester City. No matter what happens next, his legacy at Man City is untouchable. My friend Man City fan, if this truly is Pep Guardiola's final season at Manchester City, do you think now is the right time for him to leave after everything he's achieved? Or should he stay and lead one more rebuild at the Etihad? Drop your thoughts in the comments. Manchester City appear to be moving quickly toward a new era, and all signs now point to Enzo Maresca becoming the man chosen to replace Pep Guardiola. After years of dominance under Pep, Man City seem determined to avoid a complete reset by bringing in someone who already understands the club's football identity from the inside. And honestly, Maresca feels like a very logical choice. He already knows the structure at Man City, understands Guardiola's tactical philosophy, and has built a reputation for playing a possession-based style with intensity and control. But what's really interesting is that reports are already linking him with several Chelsea players ahead of the summer transfer window. The biggest name mentioned is Enzo Fernandez. If Man City genuinely move for the Argentine midfielder, it would be a statement signing. Maresca clearly values technical midfielders who can dictate tempo, and Fernandez fits that profile perfectly. But a £100 million deal would still be massive, even for Manchester City. Then there's the fascinating possibility of Cole Palmer returning. That would instantly become one of the stories of the summer. Palmer left Man City because he wanted regular football and became a star at Chelsea, so the idea of him returning to the Etihad only 1 year later feels dramatic and honestly difficult to imagine happening. Levi Colwill and Joao Pedro have also been linked, but those deals seem even less realistic given how important both players are to Chelsea's future. Still, the Fernandez situation is worth watching closely. Recent disciplinary issues and comments about uncertainty over his future have created noise around him at Stamford Bridge, and when there's instability surrounding a player, clubs like Man City always pay attention. What this really shows is that Maresca may not simply continue Guardiola's work. He could gradually reshape the squad in his own image. Man City are preparing for a transition period, but they clearly have no intention of dropping their standards. If Maresca arrives, expect Manchester City to stay aggressive, ambitious, and active in the market immediately. So citizens, would you be excited to see Maresca lead the next era at Manchester City? Share your opinion in the comments. Manchester City's draw against Bournemouth didn't just end the title race, it felt like the official signal that this dominant era is entering a new phase. Arsenal are champions, Man City fall short again, And Erling Haaland's reaction after the match showed just how deeply this one hurt inside the dressing room. What stood out most was the honesty. Haaland admitted that going 2 straight seasons without winning the Premier League is simply unacceptable by Manchester City's standards. And that tells you everything about the mentality Pep Guardiola has built at this football club. For most teams, winning domestic cups and staying competitive would be considered a successful season. At Man City, it feels like failure if the league title is missing. That mentality is exactly why Haaland's comments matter. Man City actually fought hard to stay alive in this title race. A few months ago, Arsenal looked completely out of reach, but Guardiola's side responded, pushed the Gunners all the way into the final stretch, and forced pressure back onto Mikel Arteta's team. The problem is that Man City left themselves too much ground to recover. Against Bournemouth, you could almost see the fatigue of a team that has spent years playing at maximum intensity. Even Haaland's late equalizer felt more emotional than celebratory because everyone knew it wasn't enough. And now there's another huge layer to the story. The possible end of the Guardiola era. If Sunday truly becomes Pep's final match at the Etihad, this result suddenly carries even more emotional weight. We could be watching the closing moments of the greatest period in Manchester City's history. Players like Bernardo Silva and John Stones may also be saying goodbye, which makes this feel less like the end of a season and more like the end of a cycle. Still, Haaland's reaction gives Man City fans reason to believe the hunger remains strong inside the squad. He spoke about anger, motivation, and using this disappointment as fuel. That's important, because transitions can either weaken great teams or create the next version of them. Manchester City now have to prove which path they're about to take. My friend Man City fan, do you think this season should still be considered successful without the Premier League title? Drop your thoughts in the comments. This is the Citizens News Fan channel, and I'll stop here. If you liked it, don't forget to leave a like and subscribe. A big hug and see you in the next video.